welcome back. So now let's get into the papers. We have joining us in the studio, Mr. Lawale Kundayo, who is an educationist, an agriculturist, and a public affairs commentator. Good morning to you. Welcome to the studio.
Good to have you.
Good morning.
All right, so let's get into the conversation. We have the papers in front of us. If time allows us, we'll touch on The Guardian, the Daily Trust, the Vanguard, and the Punch newspaper. These are the dailies we'll be looking at this morning. And I'm attracted to the Punch newspaper because of the pictorial there. Let's get into this one. Yes, the pictorial there depicts events in Kenya. The Gen Zs, the young generation, of course, they have taken to the streets in Kenya protesting government's finance bill and the things that will follow. One of them is a tax on bread. Oh, well. Looking at this, Kenya's debt, foreign debt, stands at about $65 million. Is it million or billion dollars now? Pardon? Million dollars. But Nigeria's debt is about over $121 million. Oh, well.
Billion.
Billion. Oh, that means that of Kenya is about $65 billion as well.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, well. And that's part of the things that they are complaining about. The usage of the resources and the continued borrowing and the idea that government feels the only way to generate money and pay off debts is by taxing the people. Now, how do you tax people that do not have anything? But looking at this in comparison to Nigeria, well, you do the maths. Okay, the banner headline there actually speaks to what Nigerians are going through. You know, I like the juxtaposition. The banner headline talks about the minimum wage. It says, Labour kicks as Federal Executive Council steps down memo, demands consultation. Failure to discuss memo, giving room for speculation. NLC tells government. And right underneath that one, you have the Kenyan story. Okay, now on top of the nameplate, the headline here reads, CBN projects lower inflation, says reforms attract $24 billion inflow. FG meets local refiners, overpricing faults Dangote. Senate didn't approve new presidential jets, Akpabio. Right beside the nameplate, court orders Emefiele to forfeit $1.4 million bribery proceeds. Customs mourn as officer dies at rep's investigative hearing. Yes, that officer slumped and died. Quite an unfortunate one there. Well, we do know that people have health issues. One of them might be blood pressure. Well, that just speaks to the fact that we should take care of our health no matter what. And right underneath the pictorial I was talking about earlier, the writer there is 5 killed as anti-tax protesters invade Kenyan parliament. All right, these are the headlines on the cover page of the Punch newspaper. Lawal.
Yes, all of them are very interesting, especially the one that's happening in Kenya. That's why I said the banner headline. You get it. I remember in France, it was the price of
bread revolution.
Yes, the French Revolution. In America, it was the increment in stamp duty.
Cola.
You get I think in Egypt, it was still, I think, was it flour? And you see.
Okay, you know what? Let's step away from that one.
Yes,
it's part of the conversation we'll have this morning.
It's a serious.
Yes.
But let's look at that refinery.
Let's look at the minimum wage.
No, I wouldn't want to know. Let's leave the minimum wage.
Okay,
let's look at the
refinery.
Okay. You get it? Because this thing is what is actually affecting so many things, because our life is tied around fuel. The electricity is not working very well. It's very bad. You get, therefore, people use fuel as alternative for almost everything they want to do. You want to watch DSTV, you need to on gen. You get, just to watch TV, you need to on gen. To charge your phone, You see people, they have made it a business now. Somebody will put a generator outside, put so many sockets, and people will come and charge for 200 naira. You get to charge your food 200 naira. You see so many people here, and the guy will be running generator there. So that one is a sorry sight. But our life is tied around this field. And the way the government is handling the field doesn't show that the government is seriously, wanting anything, substantial to take place in that place. Yeah. Because when Dangote was given the permit, to start that refinery, I knew that nothing good will really come out of it. Because we had the same experience in cement, for God's sake. We had the same experience in cement.
Well, he's come out to say that there are some cabals that seem to want to frustrate his efforts. Don't you think that's a major concern?
It's not
because
a major,
he has not even started. Let's put that out there.
It's the worst excuse that somebody can give.
Some are saying that he's trying to monopolize the industry.
That's what is happening. He's monopolizing this. It's not he's trying to. He's
but what will
monopolizing.
Mr. Lawal, Dangote actually is of the opinion that he's importing 24 million barrels of fuel from Brent in the US.
Sir,
whereas here in Nigeria, we actually happen to be part of the OPEC.
See, even leave the OPEC. Let's face reality. You get, if Nigeria is producing 1 point something million barrels of oil every day, maybe 1.8, and then the consumption rate of Nigeria per day is maybe 200,000 barrels. Is that not it? I think around that area, it's not up to 1 million. Simple. Now, the one you are going to export it. The one you are going to, the Nigerians need, you get it. Let him refine it at the local pricing and sell to Nigerians. We can't be buying at international price where the refinery and the oil exploration is taking place in the country.
It's in the free trade zone. It's in the free trade zone.
See, when you give one person, Adibin, we have a modular. Before the refinery, this Dangote was given license. People have been agitating for modular refinery. Lagos is very big to have one refinery that will be supplying only Lagos. You get? We have the east. We should have maybe 12 refineries modular across the country. So that one person will not monopolize.
It's interesting, Mr. Lawal, that you mentioned this. The NNPCL did come out to say sometime last year that Nigeria might not have enough crude oil to supply Dangote and even the Port Harcourt refinery when it comes up in full operation. So that is another part that we're not talking to. There is also the part of oil theft. 80% of our oil is being stolen.
No, I don't believe that. Seriously, I do not believe that. I've said it. Somebody came in.
These are statements that are made
by NNPC.
Not just NNPC, people that have served this nation. Obasanjo did make mention of that.
See, don't talk about people that have. So talk about analysts from
inside
and outside.
Okay, now you're talking
talk
about
neutral people. Don't talk about the politicians.
Mr. Lawal, just last week here, we heard that we're having an oil spillage in a part of River State that made them to shut down a plant that gives Nigeria 150,000 barrels of oil per day. That particular refiner, that particular will I call it rig, have been shut down because of oil spillage. Don't you think that these are the contributing factors that made us to have lesser oil to supply in the market?
No. Capital no. N-O. You get it?
What do you think now happened to be the reason Nigeria is backsliding even
it's
delivering
political reason now. This is government errors.
So are we still going to blame Dangote for government errors?
See, Dangote is a businessman.
Okay.
It is the government that plays into his hand. You get what I'm saying? He's a businessman. Any businessman will want to do that. Now, Nigeria exploration has been taking since 1950 something. You don't know. Before we got independence, they've been exploring and selling oil in Nigeria here.
Yeah.
Now, up to 1960, 1970, 1980, do we have this problem? Up to 1990. You get what I'm saying? Do you have all you see that the problem keep increasing and increasing, and it's getting worse and worse. Each new government that is coming is going to give us an excuse and add to the problem. Another one that is coming is going to give us another excuse and add to the problem. Another one is coming and is giving us and add to the problem. Since 1950 something that have been explored, even when British was here, we never had this problem. You get it? When they hand over, up through, we never had.
So what do you think
it's
will
getting
help
worse
us to curb this problem?
So it's not become, it has become a norm.
You noted that the problem is increasing.
Is going to give us an excuse.
How do we curb the challenge? How do we curb the problem or the challenge of not being enough in Nigeria?
The problem, you get it, is always with the people. Because many people have this nonchalant attitude towards politics in the country. They'll say, well, which one is my way? I don't care. Let me go for my... And yet, these same people will make budget over your head, will make policy over your head, you get it, and then you come back and complain.
All right, we'll have to move to another headline, another paper. That's the Vanguard newspaper this morning. The banner headline reads, Tinubu to consult governors, OPS on minimum wage. And this is coming from the FG. You can get it on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. And the window headlines read, Cardoso upbeat on taming inflation, supports measures to boost external reserves. That's on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. Chivido 2024, Lagos Island stands still as Davido Choma exchange marital vows. That's on page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper. Okay, we have the story on cholera. Tinubu directs FEC to set up committee to oversee emergency operations. We know that cholera in Nigeria now is killing people faster. We have registered approximately 54 deaths since this year. And just 2023 here, we have over 70,000 cases of cholera as against what we had registered in 2022. And now the federal government is talking about making it an emergency case. So just be, as you're out there listening to us or watching us now, try as much as you can to, be health conscious so that you don't have the cholera. The bacteria is everywhere. Okay, FG moves to sell 3 aircraft in presidential fleet to buy 1. Moses is like your prediction is beginning to work. They need to sell off everyone so that you can buy 1. Okay, that is it. Then when we come down,
why don't I trust them?
Well, because it has been ringing more like a ringtone.
Why don't I trust them? Because these are things. This is what we talked about. This is common sense, actually.
Mm-hmm, it's common sense.
Why did they think about this? And then until Nigerians started, clamoring and rejecting it, and now the speaker has come out to say no, they are not planning to buy jets, and now we are seeing that they want to sell off and use the money to buy 1. Why does it?
But funnily enough, this is not the first time.
It's deceitful.
It's not the first time they're telling us that.
No, this seems deceitful.
Buhari told us that when he was in power, and later they said they couldn't sell the fleet because someone was pricing 22 million.
But why,
and later reduced to 11
why
million.
is this National Assembly that is making this decision? It's another headache that I have. Why is this National Assembly being the one? Their duty is to make law now and do oversight. So why are they one deciding whether to sell a plane, presidential plane or not? Or they are supposed to be a department in charge of all those things. You get it? And make things for even all this minimum when you are clamoring and crying all over the place for. It doesn't make sense to me. You get it? It doesn't. That's why I said another government that is coming is going to add to another issue and add to another. Because Nigerians are not proactive when it comes to politics.
All right.
Even this minimum wage, the minimum wage of politicians supposed not to be in the hands of politicians. They're supposed not to decide their own minimum wage. They are working for the people. You get it? Therefore, the people must decide their salary. So there are supposed to be a committee that will decide all the salaries of people who are working for the country. Whether civil servants, whether political servants. So as whatever you call yourself, there are supposed to be a committee. That committee will decide what everybody will earn. So if the president's money is going to be increased, it's going to be increased across the board to the last person, the great man that is manning the school gate.
Okay.
Your child's a public school.
We have to go back to the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Tinubu to consult governors OPS on minimum wage. And the writers on that story, the headline reads, says he can't take decision on new minimum wage alone. Insists the input of governors, LGAs, OPS, vital. Era of paying slave wage, gone. This is according to Labour. Any amount above 62,000 naira will create crisis and job loss. This is coming from NECA. Okay, we have a major pictorial, and that is at Davido and Choma's wedding. We also have a pictorial beside that, but we'll have the Obasanjo, and we have Obasanjo popularly our former president. And just beside that headline, beside that pictorial, no plan to dethrone Sultan of Sokoto, and this is coming from the Sokoto government. And that's on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. Insecurity, NSA alerts on terrorist recruitment plot using media platform. Okay, and beneath that pictorial, Rivers crisis, anti-Fubara protest rocks Port Harcourt. The rider reads, Wike not ready for peace, Clark tells Tinubu. DMO attributes rise in public debt to FX reforms, NPR hikes. We have an editorial by Afa Babalola. You can get it on page 22 of the Vanguard newspaper. And the last but not the least is on sports. Liverpool battle Man United for our own Nigerian Lookman. And those are the stories we have on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
I was going to ask you, Mr. Lawal, before we do wrap up this. The Debt Management Office has attributed the rise in public debt to FX reforms, NPR hikes. And interestingly, also at the above the nameplate there is also a headline that reads, Cardoso upbeat on taming inflation, support measures to boost external reserves. In fact, I'm going to take it back to the Punch newspaper, where that headline really explains it a bit. It says, CBN projects lower inflation, says reforms attract $24 billion inflow. Now, this projection by Cardoso and the statement by the DMO, how do you juxtapose this? Is this some speculations that Cardoso is coming to just give Nigeria so that we would not feel that he's not doing anything? Or is there any truth in this projection by Cardoso?
Seriously, if you ask a pepper seller or bread hawker, you know that Agege bread hawker,
right?
The same question, they will simply tell you that it's either both of them don't know what they are saying or one of them is lying. You get it?
How do you mean?
Yes, now, because both of them are government. You get it? They work in the same government and they are giving us two different analyses. You get it? It shows that they actually don't know what is going on, because somebody who's on the street knows that he's seriously suffering every day. And this one is said, don't worry, it will come down, keep going up and keep going up. And so anything you tell that person, he doesn't want to listen, because
so there's distrust. Really.
Yes, all the analysis is not working.
All right.
So what else do you want to tell me that is I want to listen to? I don't want to listen.
Okay then. All right, and this will be a good place to anchor this conversation. Now let's get into the main conversation now. When we come back, we'll be looking at we'll take a break. All right, from the papers, and then when we come back, we're looking at the words of human rights lawyer Dele Farotimi, where he said that the revolution that will consume this government, that's the Tinubu's government, over hardship, will start from a particular part of the country, and he predicts the northern part of the country. Well, let's look at this statement, and when we come back from this break.
The views on the